Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So this vlog comes very unexpected. It has been a very long time since I have taken a trip on such short notice, but I almost forgot how much fun it is to do that. Decided 1 week out to go to India, applied for the visa, got it with 4 days to go, so booked the flights, did a little research, and with 2 days to go, booked accommodation, and the rest was just winging it. And it worked out great. In the video, I'll talk a little bit about India, walk through the general itinerary, talk about the food, my biggest surprises, overall impressions, and lastly, end with some tips for visiting. I have so many thoughts about everything, so I'm really excited to share. India has been on my list for a really long time, but it wasn't on there because of like a specific thing that I wanted to see or do. I just find the culture really interesting and have been extremely curious to know more about it. And just like the food alone, sign me up, because from what I knew of Indian food before going, just absolutely incredible. But more on that later. But kind of because there wasn't anything specific on my list, I never really prioritized it. I also made like excuses that like, oh, I need a visa and I want to spend like 6 months there because there's so much to do and blah. But if I'm being honest, I was intimidated, like very intimidated. I knew there was going to be culture shock, and I've heard a mixed bag of stories about traveling there as a woman. And so, yeah, I just kind of kept pushing it. After experiencing some pretty heavy culture shock, I had needed like a 10-year break after that. From going back to a country with just kind of so much hustle and bustle and the pace of life. And yeah, just like the sheer amount of people who live there is a lot more people than I'm used to. But you know, when you live in Kazakhstan, it turns out that India is a shorter direct flight than Chicago to LA. And so I like didn't really have any more excuses. India, here I come. India isn't just a country, it's a whole subcontinent with a population of over 1.4 billion people. It's currently the most populous country on Earth and the 7th largest country by land area, so it is huge. It stretches from the snowy Himalayas in the north to the tropical beaches down south. There are 22 official languages, but in reality, there are 19,500 languages spoken in India. What is that? That is bananas. I like truly can't wrap my head around that. If you spend a decent amount of time traveling in India, it can feel like you're stepping from one world into a totally different world. It's one of the most religiously diverse countries in the world. It's the birthplace of Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, I don't know if I'm saying that right, and Sikhism. And today it's got large communities of many different religions living side by side. It's also home to Bollywood, the global capital of movie magic, and the largest film industry in the world by number of movies produced each year. While Bollywood has exaggerated storylines, huge dance scenes, dramatic love stories, and larger-than-life characters, when you get to India, you realize that the country itself is just as vibrant and intense as the movies. It is diverse, it's colorful, spiritual, and it is endlessly complex. Okay, at the airport, just waiting to board the flight. Here we go. It's a little bit dramatic to get checked in, but managed to make it happen, and yeah, here we go. So from Almaty, there's a direct flight to Delhi, which was like 3.5 hours. Aristana, excellent plane food, by the way. I was very impressed and will fly again. So flew into Delhi, but got in really early in the morning at like 5:30. So took a Flixbus direct to Jaipur. The bus station wasn't quite a bus station. It was just a like point on the road, but figured it out and it was all good. And then took it was like a 5-ish hour bus ride. Jaipur is a cool city. It's a city in Rajasthan, which is the biggest state in India, and surrounded by desert. Like if you look at the map, it's like in the middle of the desert, but I didn't feel that really at all in the city. So I really liked the vibe of Jaipur. The location in the city center, or what I think was the center, was a great location, really walkable to some of the nice sites. And there was a festival we were there, so that was really fun. There was like a big parade and got to see that. They still ride elephants, and that just like hurts my heart a lot. Never ever ride elephants, no matter where you are. There is no such thing as ethically riding elephants. So yeah, that hurt my heart. I saw there's so many animals like in the city. So monkeys in India are like squirrels are in the Midwest. They're just everywhere. I didn't like monkeys in Southeast Asia because they're super aggressive, like try to get your food. But these monkeys like just live harmoniously with the people. And again, they're kind of just like squirrels, so they don't come up to you or anything like that. And so it was nice to just like coexist with them, just like stare at cute little monkeys. Literally on the street there were goats. I saw a goat wearing human clothes sometimes, and that was very cute. Dogs and cats and birds, of course, and rats. Cows, both the regular kind and the holy kind. The holy kind are the ones with the hump. Camels, a snake, elephants, horses, so many animals in like one city. It was crazy. I did a free walking tour because I love doing free walking tours to get the context of the city that you're in and the country especially. It was so great. It gave just a really, really, really good overview of India as a country, explaining things like the caste system and marriages versus love marriages and the culture surrounding that. Weddings in general, wedding season is about to get going. So there's lots of couples like taking photos and stuff on the street. I went to like a wedding market, a wholesale like vegetable market where the farmers from Rajasthan all come and sell their veggies wholesale, flower market, and lots of flowers for making decorations for the weddings and stuff, and all that was like super cool. So it was just really nice to get an overview. There's a ton to do up in the mountains, so lots of like strongholds and forts and things like that. And we did it all on our own. I'm not a huge fan of getting guides. I think sometimes it can be like too much information where I start getting bored and just like not appreciating the place where I am anymore. And so did a little light reading on some of the stuff there. It's called the Monkey Temple, which again, I was hesitant to go to, but that's not the real name, it's just like the nickname. There's just a bunch of monkeys there. It's a Hindu pilgrimage with fresh water. And so there's like 7 sacred baths. And there wasn't a ton of water in them right now, but you can go like bathe in them. And Jaipur is a leader in gem cutting in India as well as textile printing. So saw a little of that in action. I got myself a nice new duvet cover and got to do a little textile thing on my own. So that was really fun. There's a leopard reserve in like the middle of the city, and I was like, there's no way that that's ethical. But I did some asking around and it seemed like it was fine. These are like wild leopards that live there. So went on a safari of that, didn't see any leopards, so what are you gonna do? It was still nice to get out of the city and into just like really green. There was just like no green in Jaipur, and that I didn't love very much. I get henna, which is almost gone now, but it's just so beautiful, and so that was really fun. And got some paste to bring back so I can have it whenever I want, at least until it runs out. Also did a food tour, which was great. I tried a lot of things that I wouldn't have tried otherwise. It was more related to Indian street food as a whole, as opposed to like Rajasthani street food or specialties, but it was really, really cool to try stuff that I literally never would have done on my own. Partly because I wouldn't have known they existed, and partly because I would look at it and be like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like that, and then I ate it, and it was, of course, delicious. But street food tours are highly recommended. Restaurants, you can look at reviews, and there's like hundreds and sometimes thousands of reviews on like Google Maps and stuff, so you can find restaurants that you know are safe. But street food, you can't really do that, and so taking a street food tour is highly recommended if you want to eat street food, because you can't just pick and choose. Like, you have to know where you're going to know that the like water that they use and all that stuff is good to go. So yeah, that was a great experience. Ate a bunch of great food. Some snack food, some mains, palate cleanser that was on fire. Very kitschy for tourists, but I am who I am. I'm a tourist and whatever. So yeah, it was 2.5 days since we got there, and the afternoon had the whole rest of the day and then 2 full days to do a bunch of stuff. There's of course infinite things to do anywhere that you go, but I felt very comfortable being there for 2.5 days, feeling like I got a good idea of the city and getting to see the sights. We also went to a Hindu temple. Well, we went to a bunch of Hindu temples, but we're able to go right before the temple opens like 5 times a day, and people will wait outside beforehand. And it was really cool to be there when that was happening, to see what everybody's doing. You had people FaceTiming their families and things like that, showing like what's going on. And so yeah, that was a really cool experience. Right, about to take the train for the first time. To get from Jaipur to Agra, took a train. So got to the train station really early. Honestly, probably too early. I was a little worried sometimes, like in Europe, the train stations can be so huge. It can be tough to find which platform you need to be on and how to get there and everything. And so wanted to get there with plenty of time. but it wasn't difficult at all to navigate. We splurged for first class tickets and paid a whole like $5, I think. However, on the ticket it says your train car, and on the platform it said that our train car was on one end, and it turns out it was like on the total opposite end. So the train pulls in and we have to get on in general boarding, which is, oh my god. I don't know like if people pay, like don't pay for those tickets or they're just like incredibly cheap, but everyone just started bum rushing the door, and like we've got our big backpacks on and everything, so that it's like hard to move. You can't just like weave in and out of people. Oh my god, it was an experience to say the least. And then you get in the car and you can't move. Everyone's jostling for a seat because a lot of people just stand because they think it's anybody who can fit in the cars. And so then tried to like maneuver our way through the train. The trains are so long. We must have walked through, this is not an exaggeration, at least 20 cars to get to the right one on the totally opposite end of the train. So that was an adventure. I honestly thought we were gonna be stuck in general boarding and I would have to stand with my backpack on for like 5.5 hours. But luckily there was a nice person who was like, you don't belong here. He's like, come with me, and just kind of like pushed people aside and so we could start moving along through the train. But yeah, that was an adventure. It was wild. So we get to Agra like in the afternoon, had the afternoon, and then a full day the next day. Ate some amazing paratha, went to a place that's very famous for their paratha and had some unique flavors, and ate it with the pickled vegetables, which were really good, really vinegary. Indian food just has so much flavor. And then yeah, did some sightseeing stuff, went to the Baby Taj, which is the smaller version, and I believe the Taj Mahal is based off of Baby Taj. That's not its official name. And then went to a place that's across the river from the Taj Mahal, so you can see the Taj Mahal from the back. So stayed there for sunset, which was really lovely. And yeah, just kind of explored Agra. 5:30 in the morning, going to the Taj Mahal. The next day, I got up at the ass crack of dawn to go to the Taj Mahal, but it is totally worth it to go at sunrise. You're gonna beat not all the crowds, but you're going to be a good majority of the crowds. Plus the weather is nice, but the lighting is just so beautiful as the sun rises over the Taj Mahal, and you're getting in first, so you're getting a better chance of photos without people in it. It's definitely worth getting up before sunrise to get to the Taj Mahal at sunrise. I will say I've been to a few kind of well-known monuments and things, and they haven't quite lived up to expectations, but the Taj Mahal, in my opinion, very much did. It is very grandiose, it is very beautiful, and it was worth paying the extra like $2 to be able to go inside as well, because you're getting access to an area that other people don't get. Again, didn't get a guide, didn't feel like I needed it. Everyone will tell you that like you don't have to pay. I don't know if that's true in the end, if they're going to ask for a tip or for money or anything. Honestly, we saw most of the guides were just being professional photographers and like telling people where to stand and like to get the best angle. So it is helpful if you want someone to take pictures of you. But yeah, did not get a guide for that either. The Red Fort is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's very cool. They have a famous breakfast food, like street food, that is called bidai and jalebi, and so went to go get that after the Taj Mahal. It's a deep fried kachori, which is like a deep fried pastry stuffed with lentils and served with like this hot potato curry. And then crispy jalebis, which are maybe like a mix between like a funnel cake and a churro or something, but it's like fried dough and then dipped in like a sweet syrup. That wasn't my favorite part, but the bidai was really good. And it was so cheap. So went to the famous place for that. Also tried to go to the bazaar at night and during the day, and both times didn't really see much of anything, so I don't really know what was going on there, but it didn't work. Or maybe I was just like expecting something different. But anyway, Agra itself, I didn't love the vibe of the city. Probably some of that has to do with just like them always dealing with tourists. You're constantly fighting off tuk-tuk drivers to say like, oh, thank you, I don't need a tuk-tuk. Everybody's very nice, but you still do have to refuse people a lot. And getting around, it felt like there was less space, or I don't really know. It wasn't quite as comfortable, which is a funny word to use because it was not comfortable in Jaipur either. But yeah, it was just like a little bit more than Jaipur, which is interesting because it's a smaller city. But yeah, I felt like 1.5 days was great. I would definitely go up to the different rooftop cafes to either, drink tea or coffee, have a snack or a meal, because you get a beautiful view of the Taj Mahal from so many different places up there. And it's great to be able to see the Taj Mahal like many times. It's not just when you go to the Taj Mahal. And so that was a pleasant surprise. There's a very nice park right next to the Taj Mahal that I think everybody skips because they're so focused on going to the Taj Mahal. And so that's a pro tip, to go visit the park right next to the Taj Mahal, because it was really, really nice and tranquil and quiet, and there's no motorized vehicles, which is honestly priceless in India. From Agra, went to Delhi, which was a short 2.5-hour train ride. We got on the right train car this time, so learning from mistakes. They served a meal, which was incredible. It was like fancier than an airplane meal, so that was really nice. It's a quick ride, very easy, nice train. Delhi itself is the second biggest city in the world. They had a metro system, which was great, and really ended up using that the whole time. So got a lot of steps in, which is awesome. But some of the biggest takeaway from Delhi is that I hate old Delhi. I hate it so much. So, okay, in India, the city is named Delhi. I think it's just marketing that like the rest of the world calls it New Delhi. Delhi was the capital before, and then the Brits came and changed it to Calcutta, and then it changed back to Delhi and when I think it got rebranded as New Delhi. But basically, Delhi is the city, and then Old Delhi is what you would call the Old Town in Europe, and then New Delhi is like the rest of Delhi. I hate Old Town so much. It is very overwhelming. There's no space to do anything. You have to just be so focused and attentive and like on your guard for everything that you're doing, which you should always be doing when you travel in your general life in India. But oh my goodness, it was crazy. I was not happy. I don't know how you could do a free walking tour in that part of the city because it is so crowded. And I went during low season, so like I can't even imagine what it would be like when there's more tourists there. Anyway, I would not recommend staying in Old Delhi. I was very happy not to be there or spend very much time there. Did a food tour, which was lovely. Ate some incredible food, got incredible information, and I felt like that was perfect because I didn't have to do the free walking tour, and then got to try all this awesome street food in Old Delhi, which has incredible street food. There's a bunch of things to do in Delhi, so I've kind of picked a few of the big things to do. Lotus Temple is really cool. It accepts all religions, and the mission is unity and like bringing people together and focusing on what we have in common instead of what our differences are. And I just think that is very beautiful and we need more of in this world, and so that was really nice. Went to a Sikh temple. So Sikhism was founded in India. It's built on the belief of one God, equality for all people, and the importance of living an honest life while serving others. It rejects the caste system, gender inequality, ritualism, and it emphasizes community, humility, and compassion, which again, I think is something that we need more of in this world. It's well known for this tradition called langar, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, which is a free community meal served at every temple, which is called a gurdwara. And everyone sits down and eats together, regardless of background, and everybody is welcome. Today, it's practiced around the world by millions of people and known for its message of unity and service and social justice, which I'm not mad at. When you visit, both men and women need to cover their head, and then both men and women also need to cover their knees and their shoulders. The gurdwara that we went to was really, really beautiful. There's sacred pools in the back where you aren't supposed to take photos, although that didn't stop most people from taking photos. But yeah, to me that was a highlight and really interesting to learn about. There's also the Delhi International Film Festival while we were there, so I decided to go catch a movie. Saw kind of like a rom-com film, and it was an experience. It started off about what I thought was one thing and then pivoted to another thing to be about something totally different and talked about some serious themes, which I didn't see coming because it was a very kind of silly film. A lot of slapstick humor. There was some dancing at the beginning, and then there was like a battle, like a fight scene at the end, which is very over the top and it was great. Like the audience was very involved, laughing out loud and hooting and hollering and clapping at like the good parts. And it was a really, really fun cultural experience to watch a movie like that, where everybody's involved in the story. And yeah, it was great. It was really fun. If you're interested in any of the guides, specific websites, things that I did point by point, you can find it on my Substack. So that'll be linked below, and it's totally free. So overall, it was a fantastic trip. I learned a ton about the culture, which was really the goal of the trip. And then bonus was just to get to see very cool sights and of course, eating all of the food. So as promised, I'm going to talk about just about the food now. I mean, that's the thing about India. I have 2 different podcast episodes on India. If you are interested in hearing those, I have one about Southern Indian food, one about Northern Indian food, but mostly focused on Varanasi food, which I didn't get to go to Varanasi this time. I'll leave the links in the description and you can click on it from this video as well. First and foremost, all the food safety. Do not be drinking the water. I was using bottled water to brush my teeth as well, which living in Thailand and traveling China and and other places where you don't drink the water, I was still brushing my teeth with the water. In India, I didn't do that. I was using bottled water to brush my teeth just to be safe. Anything raw you shouldn't really be eating. You shouldn't be eating ice unless it's coming from like a bag. And you cannot just go to any random street vendor. They need to be like vetted and you need to know that it's safe, which is why if you want to eat street food, you should go on a food tour. In Jaipur, had some of their signature dishes, got a Rajasthani thali, which comes with a bunch of small different bowls of food, and then one of my favorite things was kulcha, which is another kind of bread, like naan or roti, and just very tasty. A lot of dal, like the lentils. In Agra, the paratha, which is like a stuffed bread, so you can get stuffed with like cauliflower, potatoes, different spices. Again, the place that we went had a bunch of different things that you could put inside of it, so tried a few different of those options. Went to a very famous place that's, I think, one of the most famous in Agra, and as I mentioned, the street food breakfast that we had in Agra as well. And Delhi butter chicken is one of the things to get. I did try to eat things that were, of the city and the region, but then also wanted to make sure I had a few meals where I was just like, I want to eat the food that I want to eat. Aloo gobi is one of my go-tos, palak paneers, and now paneer tikka masala is a very strong go-to. And honestly, like when we first arrived, we were a little worried when they said, oh, that's really spicy. And oh, never mind, we don't want it because India spice is a totally different game. But then one day it was kind of like, we're here, might as well try. Ended up getting the food that was really spicy, and it was spicy, but it was tolerable. And so from then on out, didn't have any worries about the spice level. It was nice that there was kind of like a baseline spice that was a little bit of kick in every dish, which just gives everything a little bit more flavor. Indian food is just so bright and vibrant, and I oversalt my food, which is a huge problem. And I never had to do that in India because there's just so many good herbs and flavors and sauces, and it's just so good. My mouth is watering just talking about it. And then kulfi, this like ice cream on a stick, oh my god, it's also really good. It's like super creamy, and then there's different flavors. I really liked the saffron pistachio one because you would get like a little bit of texture in there as well. So good. I think my favorite thing that I ate was on the food tour in Delhi. So we talk a lot about these in the podcast episode that came out on Wednesday. So in English, they're called water balls, but in India, they're known, depending on the region, either pani puri, golgappa, or puchaka. Sorry if I'm butchering that. So this is like crispy, hollow dough. And then in it, you put like spiced potatoes, chickpeas, and there's just like tamarind mint water. So you just pop the whole thing in your mouth at once, and it's so refreshing, and it can be sweeter or spicier, or you can like mix them both so you get a little of both, and it is just delightful. Oh my god. When you look at them, they don't look like anything special, but the water is like so bright and tangy and refreshing, which is also why it's really important to know to go to a safe place because you're drinking water. I think that was my favorite thing. I didn't even know they existed before talking to Sahana on my podcast about them. It's just delightful. Went ham on the masala chai. Love masala chai so much with all the spices and certainly sugar, but yeah, was probably drinking at least 3 to 4 chais a day. Also, lassi, huge thing. It's funny because Indians don't really drink mango lassi. They're like, we get mangoes all the time in a lot of other forms. We prefer to have our lassis plain. And they come in these little clay pots that are so cool. I kept it and brought it home because I just think they're so nice. And so yeah, you drink lassi out of these, so much more sustainable than plastic, which we love to see. And yeah, the topic of Indian food is just endless, and so it was just so wonderful to be able to eat it all day, every day. And honestly, the nice thing about India is because there's so much noise and there's so much going on, and it's like such sensory overload that you can just fart all the time and no one will know because you will get gassy, and that's okay. So I would say overall, I had been mentally prepared from Southeast Asia and just kind of knowing that it was going to be a very intense experience. But I do feel like mentally and emotionally, I was prepared for that. Physically, it was still overwhelming just because the sheer amount of just people and movement and just kind of the way things work over there is a totally different system. My biggest surprises were the level of English was pretty low, which is fine because I just thought that people did, but only 4% of people speak fluent English, and so that was a really big surprise to me, and I definitely noted it in day-to-day interactions and stuff. I was also surprised to see very few foreign tourists. There was a lot of Indian tourists, but in general, it just didn't seem like there was a ton of tourism. I know I went during shoulder season, but there were shockingly few foreign tourists. The things that we saw weren't as old as I thought they were going to be. A lot of things seemed like they were in the 1500s, 1600s, which, don't get me wrong, is old. I was just expecting things that were much older, so that was a surprise to me as well. Also, a lot of people in India speak Spanish, so that was also a surprise and really random. And last but not least, tips for visiting. So online, everyone says that you can use Uber. Tried, didn't have a lot of success. I would suggest using an app called Rapido. You do need an Indian phone number. I just got a local SIM card at the airport as soon as I arrived, so then I did have an Indian number and could sign up with that. And that way you're ordering your tuk-tuks ahead of time. You don't have to haggle in the streets. At the very beginning of the trip, I had a guy who saw the destination. We agreed to a price. We get to the destination, he was like, oh, this is very far. And he asked for, instead of the 100 rupees that was agreed upon, refused to walk away with less than 250 rupees, which was infuriating. And then I realized it is about $1.50 more that he was asking. And this is not a big deal. I need to calm down. It's like the principle. It was really frustrating, and things like that, it's hard not to get under my skin. And so anyway, you don't have to deal with any haggling. You pay the price that is in the app, which is great. And if you can say no to everyone that comes up to you to ask if you need a friggin' tuk-tuk. But the metro in Delhi is awesome, so I would highly recommend taking that in Delhi. As always, when traveling, don't try to do too much. You're never gonna be able to do everything, and India is a huge country. The world is a huge place. So pick a few things, do them well, and you can always go back. You wanna enjoy your time. Also make sure you dress appropriately. You do not see women in shorts or tank tops or anything like that. I bought a whole new wardrobe, but it was a nice excuse to go shopping, I guess. But yeah, dress appropriately and be respectful. You can order tickets to a lot of things ahead of time online. But overall, I would say the most important thing is to just go in with an open mind. There are a lot of things that work really differently than they do in the West, and that is okay. That's why you're going, to experience it all. Go in with an open mind. Try to avoid using words like weird, because it isn't weird. It's weird to you, but it's not weird. I'm trying to avoid using the word chaotic when I talk about it, because it's chaotic to me, but to them, it is normal. So just go in with an open mind, an open heart, and ready to learn and be humbled by something that is different and most likely new to you. Be patient. You will need endless patience. Be careful of the water, and buy medicine for diarrhea, just in case. If you're interested in the very specific things that I did, the tours, the links to everything, you can find that on my Substack. I have a Substack where every 5 days I write a new post on things from culture, identity, belonging, life as an expat, travel, and all that good stuff. So you can subscribe to my Substack. It's totally free, and I'm going to have a whole list of specific websites and everything from India, places that I ate, tours that I did, transportation and stuff that I took. And so you can have that available to you for free as well. So that's all gonna be linked in the description. There's so much to talk about when it comes to India. I would love to know, have you been to India? Where did you go? What was your favorite part? If you haven't, is it on your list? I wanna know all of you guys' thoughts about India as well. So thanks as always for being here. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and give me a follow if you don't already. And I have no idea when I'll be back with another travel vlog. This one was unexpected, so maybe there'll be another unexpected one soon. But otherwise, I don't have another trip planned until end of August, early September for Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan. So I'm looking forward to that. Otherwise, there'll be updates on Kazakhstan and life here, as well as podcast episodes that will continue to come out every 2 weeks. So I'll see you when I see you. Bye.